Hello, Martin County. I'm Scott Guntz. I want to welcome you to our newest episode of Heroes Among Us. In this particular episode, we're going to follow the Military Order of the Purple Heart with a special introduction ceremony of a memorial that was built in Indian Riverside Park in Jensen Beach, Florida. They erected a monument to all the Purple Heart recipients here in Martin County. They've developed little bricks, which are actually going to be super amazing when you start to be able to see them all around the monument. And it's dedicated to the fallen, also those that have been injured, if you know what the Purple Heart actually is. We hope you'll enjoy this show and get to see the monument. It's in Riverside Park at Jensen Beach, Florida.
So good afternoon. Here we are today at Indian Riverside Park in Jensen Beach, Florida. Today not only is Veterans Day as we observe it here in Martin County, and it's a very special day for all of us and for the very many reasons that we honor our veterans on a day that they've participated in and played such an important role in our history and in the United States and America. And so today is a very special day for us here at Indian Riverside Park. You know, it's amazing, after 20 years of all the work that went into this park, I don't know that we ever thought that we would be so blessed to have a memorial as a chosen site to be here for us today. So over a year ago, some folks approached us and said, we would like to do this. We would like to have the Purple Heart Memorial be a centerpiece of Indian Riverside Park. And today in the background, as you can see, we have this spectacular memorial that has been brought here and put in place, and we are dedicating it today to the Purple Heart veterans, and it's a very, very special thing, and it's a wonderful part to be part of it all.
I entered the Army in 1964, right after high school. I went through basic training, advanced infantry training, and entered jump school at Fort Benning, Georgia. I was sent to the 101st Airborne Division. After that, in '66, they sent me to the 1st Cavalry in Vietnam. I served with the 7th Cavalry under the command of then General Hal Moore, and my platoon leader was Rick Rascola, who died in the World Trade Center. Got hit in Phuket, medevaced, 6 months at Valley Forge Army Hospital. I'm 100% service-connected combat wounded veteran.
Enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 1943. I went to boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina, and I went to Camp Lejeune after that for training in demolition and scouting. From there I was stationed in Cuba at Guantanamo Bay. Then I went to the Panama Canal. And from the Panama Canal, I went to Hawaii. From Hawaii, in July of 1944, I participated in the invasion of Guam. July 24th is their Independence Day. And February 19th, I was in the 3rd Marine Division Headquarters Battalion, and I made the landing at Iwo Jima. I lasted 10 days, was wounded. Transferred to Saipan and Army Hospital. From there I went to Great Lakes Naval Hospital and was discharged in 1945.
Currently the commander of Chapter 717 Purple Heart in West Palm Beach, Florida. I enlisted in the Army August 1966. Went to Fort Jackson, basic AIT, sent me to Vietnam, arriving February '67 with the 1st Cav Division. Was there for 5 months, was wounded in action, 4 grenades, and spent 5 months in the hospital between Japan and Walter Reed, and was discharged out of the Army in August '68.
this glorious day, the Military Order of Purple Heart, Chapter 717, welcomes you, one and all. We are honored to dedicate this monument today to all combat wounded veterans of all wars and all branches of service of the United States of America Armed Forces. We now ask that the colors be presented. VFW Post 10132 will perform a 21-gun salute followed by taps in honor of our fallen military brothers and sisters. All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Veterans salute.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we will have singing of the national anthem by Yo Newer.
present.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This new monument will serve to recognize Purple Heart recipients. It too will serve to enable us as a community to educate our citizens and youth as to the sacrifices of our proud military. It will help to preserve the history behind this award, all in keeping with the Military Order of Purple Heart mission statement. Today we have 3 speakers, and at this time I'd like to introduce Military Order of Purple Heart chapter member and United States Congressman Brian Mast. The Military Order of the Purple Heart is greatly appreciative of the recognition you gave this monument, Brian, and by speaking to the issue on the floor of the House of Representatives earlier this year. We thank you, sir, for all you do for veterans of this great nation. We're going to pause with Brian. We overlooked the invocation.
Bow your heads, close your eyes, please. Let us pray. And the Son of God said, "Let not your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again, and you will receive me unto you, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go ye know, and the way ye know." How can we know the way? Jesus said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father, if not by me. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. And from henceforth know him, and have seen him." Amen. And now we'll have a moment of silence for our MIAs and POWs. Amen. Praise God.
The moment which resulted in me receiving the Purple Heart, September 19th, 2010, of the entire part of that moment in combat, the time that I remember most about that was as my men loaded me onto a medevac helicopter and they rendered me one last salute. That is the most vivid part of that evening for me whenever I look back on it. And I believe that the reason that that moment was the most vivid part of that night to this day was that because when one veteran renders a salute to another veteran, it is a great deal more than just a simple hand gesture that is being undertaken. When one veteran renders a salute to another veteran, you are saying thank you for everything that this Purple Heart Medal represents. When we render a salute to one another, we are saying thank you for that very, very austere life that you have chosen to live. Thank you for your willingness to go out onto a battlefield in the north of Africa, or somewhere in the Pacific, or somewhere in some forest in Europe. Thank you for your time in the cold at the Chosin Reservoir. Thank you for your time in some jungle in Vietnam. Thank you for your time as a ranger or a Delta operator in Somalia. Thank you for your time in Bosnia or in Kosovo. Thank you for your time that you served during the Gulf War. Thank you for your time in Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and every other place that you choose some dirt in some foreign land that some other person may have no idea that you ever spent time there. When we render that hand salute to one another, we are saying thank you for that time where you strapped a rifle across your body and carried it across some foreign battlefield. Thank you for hanging grenades off of your kit. Thank you for carrying everything that you needed on your back to take the life of one of our enemies or to save the life of one of our brothers. When we are rendering that hand salute to one another, we are saying thank you for your time in a tank. Thank you for your time being targeted by snipers. Thank you for your time walking around landmines, improvised explosive devices. Thank you for your time fighting your way through an ambush. Thank you for your time in some aircraft flying over any of our enemies across some enemy line. Thank you for your willingness to not come home. Thank you for your willingness to have your family receive one of these flags folded and handed to them instead of them receiving you. When we render that salute to one another, I believe it's the greatest show of respect that one veteran can show to another. And in that, on this Veterans Day, and before this Purple Heart Memorial, I couldn't be more proud than to look at each and every single one of you that ever put on a uniform, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Coast Guard, whenever it was that you served, and render you a salute and say how proud I am to be able to say that we chewed some of the same dirt, that we were cut from the same cloth, that we had the same sense of duty to this nation and to our brothers that served to our left and right, and that was our highest sense of duty. So to each and every one of you veterans on this Veterans Day, I salute each and every one of you. Thank you for letting me be here among you. Thank you.
You're already up here. Next, I'd like to introduce Martin County Commissioner, District 1, Doug Smith. The Military Order of Purple Heart, Chapter 717, offers its sincere thanks to you, sir, for making this monument at Indian Riverside Park possible. Working with you and your staff, Todd Faust, Andy Pearson, Jessica Baelish, was a blessing, and we thank you all for making this project a success. I hope we're able to work together again in the future. Your team's support of veterans is greatly appreciated. Again, we thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. You know, one of the hardest parts about speaking in front of a crowd is following a speaker quite like Congressman Brian Mast. Congressman, thank you very much for your service, and thank you for everything you do for us here. We are really incredibly fortunate to have him representing us in Washington, and clearly when he speaks on a day like this, you can understand why. One of the many facets that makes him as good as he is the ability to get up here and represent his country continuously and do and say the things that he has said, and continue on with that effort in Washington on all of our behalf. So again, thank you, Congressman, very, very much. You know, 20 years ago, there was a small group of us that got together and started looking at this piece of property to try to understand how we would take an old college campus and turn it into a park. And it seemed kind of like a long time ago that all started. But in our earliest visions of what we really kind of anticipated this place might turn into someday, we had no idea that a day like this would ever happen. We envisioned having all the kids in the background, we envisioned having parents, we envisioned this being a place that people would come to enjoy, but never envisioned the idea that Roger DeGraff would come to me last year, almost a year ago on today, and said, Doug, do you think this is possible to do something like this? Do you think we could put a memorial to the Purple Heart here in Indian Riverside Park? And I said, Roger, by all means, it's possible and it's doable. You just tell me how, where, and when, and we'll make that happen. And so today we are here today to dedicate this memorial, which is absolutely stunning. And if you haven't been on this side of it, you're getting to see that side of it. I apologize for that, but please do come on this side. It is really one of those milestones in my career, and certainly in this park's career, to be able to be part of such an effort like this and be part of such a day like this. We never ever envisioned the honor that you would all bestow of us to pick this place, to choose this place, to make this a place that we would honor our veterans. And so from me personally, from all of those who worked on the park all these years, and from the County Commission, we thank you all very much for your service and your dedication to our country. And thank you so much for allowing us to be a small part of this piece of history. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day.
I'd like to take a couple of minutes and recognize two special Purple Heart chapter members. Don Mates, World War II, Pacific Theater, Marine, Iwo Jima. And if you want, I'll tell them your age. We won't go there. Thank you, sir. 92 years old. Secondly, we have retired Major Chuck Wynn Sr. Chuck served in the European theater and also in Korea. At this time, Dick McMeekin will give us a closing prayer, which will be followed by Yo Newer singing God Bless America.
Before I give you a prayer, I'm going to read you what I can read from up here. My stone is red for the blood they shed. The medal I bear is my country's way to show they care. If I could be seen by all mankind, maybe peace will come in my lifetime. Directed by Chapter 717, Military Order of the Purple Heart. I know you can come and see it. I wanted you to hear it. Hey, Hut! Now you're ready. Close your eyes and we'll have a final prayer. Lord, make us an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, let us show love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. Amen.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
I want to thank all those participants today. We've all done a fine job, and I thank you for the help. God bless you. Happy Veterans Day.